Hey guys, welcome back to this channel, Young and Proud Educators. KKG still. You were hoping for somebody else, right? We don't have people yet. They're gonna come and they will join in. Let me not waste your time, guys. So, just a quick reflection. The entire December, I was trying to do it differently. Instead of just sitting and indulging into the nicest things in life, I decided to to wake up every day and read a book. So I read this one here, David and Goliath. Oh yeah, David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell, and it was just a beautiful book. It took me, I think the entire month, because I was reading very slow. I was not reading during the day. I was out there with other children, experiencing and having fun, and I had good fun. Regardless of the pandemic. I had fun. I'm not encouraging bad behavior, but we were looking. And my hairline is messed up. We were out there, and the protocols were followed. Always at the mic and sanitize and everything. Okay, so this one, what's my take from this lovely book? Afita, the Goliath. I think before I bought this book, I heard about it from the live check event, guys, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the book, and I did get the book, but I didn't read the book instantly. I waited. When we went for holidays, then that's when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start indulging and I'm gonna start reading. So what stood out for me is, when I looked just the cover, I went underdogs. It says underdogs, misfits, and the art of battling giants. Like, that's interesting, considering these two guys. Then there's underdog, there's misfits, there's art of battling giants. What exactly are we looking at? And I went to the back here. I read. It was mind blowing. It was encouraging. Then I read the book. I think the first chapter. Those of us who are Christians, you understand the story of David and Goliath, and that's a powerful story. But how Malcolm said and break it down into pieces, it's brilliant. If you've never read the book, get it and read. This is not advertisement. I'm not selling or representing him. I'm just sharing with the community. So yes, so I just wanted to share with everybody to like say, you know what, it's we're reading, we're learning, we're growing, and we keep on growing as a people. And if you look at a whole lot of guys, the guys that call themselves the self-made millionaire, and most of them, they dropped out of school and they started educating themselves. And how did they do it? They read books. They read books to get where they were, to understand their world and to navigate and finding themselves in that space. So I read this one. But there was a lot of takeaways from this book, and I would say I'm not gonna go and say this and this, but a lot of takeaway from this book. It tells. I'm just gonna go by the content so I can just remind myself, because I stopped reading a few days ago. So introduction, like the first one, introduction part about Goliath says, "Am I a dog that you should come to me with sticks?" Like that piece from the Bible. Remember when Goliath said that? That's a beautiful, powerful thing ever, and how Malcolm breaks it down, the meaning, what he meant, and for him, like he made sure that the meaning was in two parts. The meaning for Goliath, the one who said it, and the meaning for the next person, who was David. And he broke it down to another level to say, when you go to a fight, make sure that when you get there, you don't fight like that person. If that person fight with punches, you fight differently. If that person wants to grab you and just punch you hard, you make sure that when you fight that person, there's always distance in between. those are underdogs, and I made a lot of connections from that. Like for instance, when a big team is playing against the small team, which he speaks about the basketball team that the guy from Silicon Valley started with all the children from the adults who are the employees at Silicon Valley. He put their children together, and then he started coaching them basketball. So they did not play naturally like everybody. They played their own way because they knew that if they played normally, they were going to lose. So when you go and fight somebody, be it however or whatever context that will be, then you fight differently. You fight extremely differently. You're not fighting the way that person fights. So what's important is you then have to learn the person and how they do things. And once you understand how they do things, that's when you can start approaching them or fighting them. And the underdogs, like it's a massive book, man. It's a massive book. There's a lot of takeaways here. I think the takeaway that really stood out for me is people in different places. We then assume that, you know what, as a guy, for instance, myself, from extreme poverty, I then automatically would say to myself, I'm disadvantaged. There's a part where he speaks about advantages and disadvantages. That, you know what, you are looking at yourself and you're just classifying yourself as a disadvantaged individual, but in actual sense, you're not disadvantaged. Because what you are experiencing, what you are going through, it's going to prepare you for your future. He spoke about one crazy doctor when they were in the ICU or whatever, and the people said, no, you're going to follow. The other doctors say, no, you're going to follow these rules because this is what you have to do. Then that doctor said, no, you can't do that, you should do this. And when people didn't want to do that, he would then confront doctors and say, you killed somebody. Like your experience, like that guy went through a lot of adversities, where he's coming from, where he grew up as a child. The adversities, he got used to them. But people dying was not something new. Him attacking people, him questioning people, him shouting and screaming at people was nothing new, because he grew up in a house where death was common. So you turn your disadvantages to advantages. And again, what stood up is I'm gonna have those on the screen. The U shape. I think it's U shape. Yeah, the U shape. That he spoke about the classroom context. In class, we assume that, you know what, when you have few children in class, then learning will take place and children will excel. And we consider that as an advantage. But how he breaks it down and say that can be advantage, but it can work against the children. Because children are 5, or it can work against the learning experience between the children and the teachers and children among themselves. That you have 5 children in a class that you have to teach, there will be less conversations, less perspective, and what you just gonna do is make sure that your children get marks that they have to get, so they can go to the next level, or to pass and excel and get distinction. But in other way, that's a disadvantage. Then he spoke about people being rich, like the extreme, like the shape, the U shape. So he spoke about raising parenting. That, you know what, people who are poor, they do struggle to raise their children because of looking after them, supporting and stuff like that. But once they become middle class and go slightly up, then they can, because there's that little money in the house, and when they can afford something, the parent will then discuss with the child, or just have a conversation with the child that, you know what, we cannot afford that, but we can afford this. So instead, we'll get that for you, but we're not going to get that for you. But when it comes to go to the other side, where the super rich, he says it's extremely difficult for And this is research based. It's not just a novel where it's from your head. It's research based. So the super rich, they do struggle to raise their children because they can't say to their children that, you know what, I don't have money to buy 1 tube. Why is that? Because they're living in this massive house. Dad is driving this massive super sports car, and they dress labels, brands that are extremely expensive. The watches are expensive, like everything is expensive. So the children do not understand when a parent say, you know what, I don't have it. So this is for those guys. So this is for those guys who are underdogs, who are misfits, and you're like, you know what, I can do. That's possible wherever you are. It's great. I even thought about my school. That the school that I went to, primary school, I went to a farm school. It was difficult, different, and challenging because we had to go fetch water from the river, from the dam or river, watering our own, cooking. It's even depressing to talk about it, but it was challenging and hard for us. But on the other side, some schools in the city where children had everything in there. They had best world-class resources to use, and they would do anything and everything with them. But then the challenge is we have these resources and children have them already in school, and you'll find that they cannot incorporate it in their teaching and learning, or they cannot even go outside and play or run around. Why? Because there's pavement all over the yard. There's no grass. There's no. But we had lots. We walked from school for 5 hours, not 5 hours, 5 kilometers a day, back and forth. So that was 10 on its own. And when there was grass, there was a lot of things that was running around. That's why I'm so. I think I'm fit. That's why I'm so fit and strong. But a whole lot of things that we've been through as a people, we then need to start thinking differently about them and just change them, because those adversities that prepared us for the future, for the next life and next jobs and the things that we're going to create and start in the future. So that's a beautiful book. I don't know if you guys understood. I don't know if you guys liked it, but if you do, guys, if you did not understand me, I just made a lot of noise. Just tell me at the bottom that you made a lot of noise. But if you got takeaway, please write it down, guys. If you didn't get me, get a book, read it, and share it with the world. Thank you so much, guys. Ciao for now.